Okay, we're gonna hit record there, Jessica. All right. Well, welcome to the Power Lunch, Jessica. I understand that we had a little switcheroo action going on,
A
so
little bit, yeah. So thank you guys. And Piper, I got your email here. I appreciate that clarification.
Of
So I'm
course.
going to do my best to walk you guys through, just get any questions answered, a little presentation, whatever makes sense.
nice, nice. Well, we appreciate you being willing to come on and suffer the abuse. No, I'm just kidding. We're very conversational, so no sweat there. So don't worry. Where are you located geographically?
I am in Southern Colorado, Colorado Springs,
Oh,
actually.
nice, nice. Very good, very
Yeah,
good.
and I looked at your account. So Minnesota.
Yes, well, some of the people are Minnesota. We have Sheila who's in Wisconsin,
Okay.
and I'm a Minnesota person who's in Florida.
Oh, okay. Are you
And there's,
visiting or did you relocate?
yeah, I'm visiting. So we actually have our founder and Super Ken Romer, the sandwich master, is also in Florida.
Okay.
You'll understand the whole sandwich comment later. So,
Great. Well,
so
I'm
why don't we
sure
start
Florida
with
weather. I'm sure
well, I
Florida
was,
weather is gorgeous right now.
oh my gosh.
A balmy 27 degrees here. So,
Wow, I think it's warmer in Minnesota than it is there.
Yeah, I've got 36 degrees right now.
Yeah, we got 32.
geez.
Nice.
So,
Woohoo!
Sheila, Wisconsin, which part?
I'm just 20 miles southeast of Green Bay.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you're definitely in Wisconsin. I actually grew up on the border between Wisconsin and Minnesota. So right there
Where?
on
I
the point,
that's where I'm from. Where did you grow up in Wisconsin?
Hudson.
Hudson. Okay, so I'm just north of that in Webster, Danbury area.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Danbury, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, don't hold that. Don't hold it. See, that's the thing. Like you could say I'm from Webster, Siren, or Danbury. Everybody knows Danbury.
Yep.
Everybody knows Danbury. It's like the end of the earth. Everybody knows where the end of the earth is.
Yep. Most times I say, "Oh, I'm from Minnesota. I'm born and raised Wisconsin."
Yeah.
But it's right there. I mean, everything I did was over the border, so sometimes it's just easier. Or
Yeah.
Minnesotan, merge the two.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny.
Actually,
Yeah, because
never
all of our
heard of
news comes
before.
from Minnesota.
Yeah. Well,
So
glad
anyway,
glad
very
to
good.
be here, guys. It's nice to get acquainted with you all. So wherever we are geographically, it's kind of a power lunch, I think is what it's called.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
let's jump into it here. Where do you guys want to start?
Well, if you could give us just a little bit of a summary of who you are, just a quick high overview of that, and then talk about Breach Secure Now and what the tool set is. And if you have a presentation, we can slide into that. We're very conversational. We'll have, if the audience has questions, they can ask questions either via, verbally or via chat. And then I have questions that I'll ask you, and we'll kind of try to hit around 35 minutes. And then we do what's called the wheel of death. Well, actually, I was told wheel
Fun
of
and
death is too
adventure
negative.
team.
Yeah, so it's the wheel of fun and adventure. When
Okay.
when I'm running it, it's the wheel of death, but today it's the wheel of fun and adventure. And we spin for sandwiches, and we have two sandwich masters. For some reason, Denny and Ken win all the time, so this will be a good battle royal to see who the winner is today.
I think we've
Okay.
decided we normally do a wheel spin, but since there's only two of us, I think we're gonna go with a thumb wrestle today.
Oh, we could do a thumb wrestle. That would be
Yeah.
good.
I like the
Change it up.
competition. Great.
Nice.
Well, yeah, so clearly I'm Jessica Ostley. I work for Breach Secure Now. We provide human security training, right? Cybersecurity awareness training, which of course you guys are familiar with. So I do have a little presentation that I can kind of walk you guys through today and explain the gamification, the dashboard, all the different features and components of that. Forgive me, I'm less familiar with Zoom. It's been a while, so I'm going to try to find my screen share here.
And okay, you should be able to share. Yep.
Yep, and I believe, can you guys see my dashboard?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
perfect. All right, so here you are looking at your training dashboard, which of course has employee secure score. Your ESS is going to be the whole component of this. Excuse me, I've got to turn that down. Okay. So the ESS is, again, that main component here, and you'll start, it's like a FICO credit score. So you're going to start with no experience, no scoring. It's going to be a high risk category until you complete certain training items that can complete some education right around the cybersecurity awareness fields. Like we have an annual training quiz. It's about 30 minutes or so, maybe 35 minutes. And that will take you through a series of mini videos. Once you've completed that, there's, I believe, a 20-question quiz. And the annual training will boost your ESS, right? You've taken a step to be more cyber aware. We also have micro quizzes. These are mini videos that are sent out every week. They're about 3 minutes long, some true or false questions surrounding that content here, and that is intended to keep cybersecurity top of mind. So that is, again, a weekly basis. It's 5 minutes, maybe maximum once a week, to make sure that you guys are staying on top of all of the current cybersecurity trends. For example, we're in tax season. We might have some content around tax scams, things to look out for, how the IRS will or will not contact you. And then later in the year, for example, election times, that content is going to be relevant to the calendar year. So all of your items to complete, we have a little checklist here, as you can see. Some of these items in my demo account have been completed. Some are still showing. For example, go in, take some more micro trainings, but these are sent to you every single week to your email. Before I continue here, do you guys have questions about the scoring mechanism?
So when you look at the micro training or the micro quizzes and those types of things, does it have the ability to tell you who's done it and who hasn't, or give you some kind of assessment of how, I guess, being an old call center guy, I would say what your penetration is?
So we do have a managerial role that would have access into company data or completion rates or scores, for example. This is not showing that view. However, we do have that view available. There would be an additional tab. I believe it's called training reports or reporting, something along those lines.
Okay. Very good.
Good question.
Oh, and when you talk about that employee secure score, that score in the upper left-hand corner, is that like an aggregate across the enterprise, or is that by employee? How does that work?
This is by employee. We do have a company overall, like an average ESS that you guys could contribute as well. That again is visible within a managerial role.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. So same thing with the trend. You can see whether you're increasing or decreasing over time, how that progress has been going. The intention, of course, once you start, you'll start kind of on the low end, and you want to see yourself eventually get into the fair and in the good categories here to increase that score. So it's something for you guys to monitor. The dashboard you're looking at now, again, this is an individual employee type of role. That managerial role includes a company trend. And the ESS is made up of a number of different components here. It does vary quite dramatically. So the biggest component is your annual training and the score, whether or not you've completed it and how well did you do. Those micro quizzes, how many of them have you taken? We have a library of 80 in there at all times, but as I mentioned earlier, they are released once a week. So when
If you throw, this is John.
I'm sorry.
Oh, John.
It was a service call.
He's got a, yeah,
Got
can you?
it.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry about that.
No worries at all. So when, for example, let's see. So tomorrow we have a micro training that comes out. They come out every Thursday. The latest one would fall off. We keep that library of 80 at all times, and we keep the newest content. And then your average score of those completed micro quizzes. These are the biggest components that go into your ESS. However, we do have phishing simulations as part of the upgraded features or products that are available. Once you run that simulation, if somebody has engaged with a simulated email, they've clicked on a link from a campaign that we've sent out, and it mimics a phishing email. Someone fails that test, if you will. They have what we call a phishing attack fail rate here, and that will dramatically lower your score. Now, there are ways to gain those points back, right? We have an Outlook plugin, for example. If you caught or successfully identified one of those phishing simulations, then you would be able to make up for some of those lost points, and that would improve your ESS. So it's a back and forth, definitely, but just wanted to explain what goes into that ESS, the element of the scoring. Okay, any questions on what we've covered so far? Okay, so next here, I want to point out this leaderboard. One of the items when you first log in your checklist here is going to be to edit your profile. You can create a username, make it a fun screen name, something like I love fishing, right? Or fisherman, and kind of make it a play on words. This is intended so that when you're logging in, you can see where you fall based on everyone else within that organization. And you might not know exactly who ESS Hero is, but you want to be able to compete, and maybe there's an incentive for the top performer, for example. Gift card to Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks or lunch on the company, something like that. So we suggest that you create that fun username and then kind of monitor the leaderboard, see where you are, and complete those steps to be at the top. And this creates some friendly competition around the entire platform. Instead of making it one more task for somebody to do or add to their plate, we want this to be fun. And this is how we kind of engage that end user participation. So this is really the nuts and bolts here of the dashboard that kind of covers everything outside of where you can find these other materials. You can see, for example, your training tab. You can go back to your annual training courses. You can rewatch, you can retake the quiz if you need to. Let's say you got a passing score, but it was only 80% and you wanted to get that extra ESS improvement. Go in, take it, and try and get 100%. You can always do that. Your micro trainings, people are going to take vacations. People are just not going to have time one week or every week consecutively. So we have this library. If you ever need to or are more interested in coming in, 5-10 minutes at a time, you can knock out a couple of these and just watch as many as you can fit in to your time. So we do have dark web monitoring that is part of that upgraded BPP. This is the, again, individual employee view. And they can check a personal email address. They can check a friend or family's email and scan to see if they have been involved in any breaches. As you can see here, there's a couple examples. And it would tell you what data was compromised, not the data that was compromised, but what type of data would be compromised. If you had a managerial role and needed to look at your company domain, we could see a little bit more specific data like password 12345. But here it'll just show, potentially your email, date of birth. It could have your job title. There was a breach for LinkedIn. It might have your bio or job description included in here. IP address is one we see commonly as well. So something to look out for, and a way that you can keep vigil on yourself and your friends and family as well. Another component.
Mine says no results.
That's good news. That's good news. Another component that we have is a monthly security newsletter. So when those micro trainings come out every week, the last week of the month, you'll receive a newsletter in place of a training video. And this is going to cover things like a scam of the month. There might be a fun game, a crossword, a word search, something of the sort here that has you look for items that we learned throughout the month in those micro trainings. So it's kind of a quick overview, a little summary of, the information we've seen or heard or tried to educate you on throughout that month. And you can find the library here. You can always go and download an older one, or you could share it with a a client or a prospect or anything of that sort. So here we have some policies. When you are rolling out the training to an organization, these are templates that can be downloaded and revised, so you can add the company branding, their organization name. Maybe you're assigning a security officer and it's going to be this dedicated HR person. You can put in their name, all of the company detail, and you can change that voice to match what policy they want to implement. The employee can then come into their policy tab, download and acknowledge these policies. And this is something that you can, as a manager, add, remove, or, as I mentioned, edit those policies as well. Okay, so that is really the big portion of, I would say, the end user experience for our training platform. I've been talking nonstop. I'm parched. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question surrounding, I guess, reporting. Does this automatically report to management and upper management?
Report as in, can you elaborate?
As reporters, people taking their test, what their scores are they, repeat, just get through it and don't really learn anything kind of thing?
So that is a good question. The managerial role will have visibility into that. We don't send it automatically when someone completes a micro training or an annual training quiz.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is because we work with, or you partners work with, clients of all types of sizes. And
Right.
that could lead to a lot of automated email that maybe doesn't get looked at or looked into. We do have some automated reporting capabilities that can be configured. So if, for example, you were running a phishing campaign and you wanted to know when it was completed and see the results for that campaign, we could configure something like that to send to you or someone of your choice automatically. For completion, training completion, quizzes, things like that, that's something that is visible. It's just a report that you would download. I believe it's a PDF.
Okay.
So good question. Anything else?
I have a question as well. And excuse me if I misunderstood how you were saying this, but you were saying when you get like a phishing email or something of the sort, it will kind of go into saying how, like what kind of data would have been taken. Is that, like your actual like data, or is it just kind of an example of what's going on?
So I believe what you might be referring to here, are you referring to this screen, the dark web, or are you referring to the phishing simulated emails?
The phishing simulated emails.
So the phishing simulations are sent. We have a library of 200 maybe different scenarios, like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, for example, that you can select and send out to an organization's user list.
Mhm.
And when that happens, someone can either, not do anything with the email. They can junk it or delete it. They could engage with it. If they clicked on a link, there's nothing that's been compromised, their email, their IP name, there's no data captured really. All it does is bring them to a unique landing page, typically with your logo on it, that indicates it was sent by the company and it was a simulation and no harm has been done.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. On the other hand, someone could identify that it was a possible phishing email with that Outlook plugin I mentioned. If that were the case, then they're rewarded with, there's a window that pops up and says, congratulations, you've caught a simulation. The confetti falls down on the screen. So it's meant to be fun and rewarding. So there are a couple different behaviors that work with the phishing sims.
Jessica, one of the common questions that I get when I'm talking about Breach Secure Now and the dark web piece of it is like, I mean, honestly, what's the dark web? And then that's kind of, that's a common question that I get.
It is.
And typically I talk about it's the difference between indexed and non-indexed databases, that type of thing. Do you have a different way to describe it when people ask that question, or what's a great way to help people understand what the dark web is? Because
Yeah.
they picture something like out of Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings and the Eye of Sauron. They're watching things and stuff. So
Sure.
how would you explain a dark web?
So I think your answer is a good way to explain it here. There could be, so the way I've heard people explain what the dark web is like layers of an onion. And the layers can be peeled back. So you can see certain pieces, but when you get to the core of that onion, right, there's more depth to it that you can't see until you peel those layers back. And so accessing, the web, pulling up a standard browser here, I don't know the actual percentage of this, but I think what we can access or what we typically access on a daily basis is only like 10% of the information available online. And the bulk of that here can go into the dark web. And then beneath that is even the deep web. So it is difficult to explain, but for the most part, it is just a private source of searching on the internet. And there's more beyond that, but I would like to use that onion example or analogy here to kind of have that conversation and show people a little bit more about what peeling a layer back is.
The seedy underbelly of the internet where
Yes.
you don't want to see what's out there.
Yeah. And people will access the dark web for non-nefarious purposes, which of course to me is in my industry just something that I don't necessarily understand. What are the things that you can do on the dark web if not for nefarious purposes? However, it is both malicious or non-intended malicious.
Right.
So,
Right.
oh, Keith, you
No,
can.
go ahead.
Oh,
No,
I was
no,
just
go
going to
ahead.
ask, if you are thinking about the kind of things that you're preparing us for with this training, would that be people generally that are on the dark web using like that, like that web face to try and attack you instead of their own computer?
No, I would say that we are trying to target the ordinary person using the internet of any type because really humans are the best or the worst security risk. You can have all the hardware in place, you can protect this and that, antivirus, EDR, you can have a high quality grade firewall, you can put everything in place, but the second you put a person in front of a screen and connect them to the computer, there's an unlimited ability to have human error. And so we're trying to educate the traditional end user, right? Anyone accessing the internet for any reason, on how to spot things like phishing emails, how to be aware of any breaches, anything that perhaps their information has been leaked on the dark web in a previous breach, or if there's a new breach involved, that they could be alerted and take the proper action, changing your password and things like that.
All right, thank you.
So if you have this going in an enterprise, is there a way to set it up so that this app can interface with their headphones and deliver a high power electric shock if they click on the link?
No, but we're working on that. I'm just kidding.
That
That'd
might
probably
be
be
an
very effective.
effective training method.
It would be effective. I think people might learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Learn from any
Exactly.
mistakes.
Do you see this? What is the most common size business that you see this using, or is it applicable to small and large alike?
I would say the latter. So we have, and again, BSN, we're channel only, so we work with MSPs primarily. Your clients could be 2 to 5 users. They could be 500 or 2,000 users. I would say it depends on the company size. Doesn't necessarily have a cap for our training platform. It is encouraging the number of people, however many that may be, to come in here and participate. That can be challenging when you have a larger business. That is, of course, going to be something we run into all the time, and user engagement, making sure people understand why this is important.
Is it
That's
fully
okay.
cloud-based and hosted, or is it something that's installed locally at that business?
Cloud-based.
I have a question regarding the phishing testing.
Okay.
What is your hit percentage, your successful percentage? And B, can you bring that down to an individual? If you already discussed that, I apologize. I had to step away for a minute.
No worries at all. So are you referring to the fail rate for phishing simulations?
Well, I guess you would call it fail rate. I'm call it success rate on how many people you got. Same thing.
Okay. Okay. So we do, as you can see, am I still sharing my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So phishing attack fail rate here, when someone does engage with that simulation, that is a percentage that can be tracked per individual and per organization.
Okay.
However, the success rate is rewarded by their ESS.
Right.
So it's not necessarily a percentage or a company overview, but it does contribute directly into this score so that you can see how you're doing, right? If you have detected a phishing simulation, if you have caught it here with the plugin, that's a way for us to pull that data back into your dashboard.
Do you fold all the security stuff like into one package, or do you have, like, can you focus on HIPAA environments or PCI, or are there some differentiations there, or is there a extended tool or extended package you can get for HIPAA pieces?
Yeah, we do have different HIPAA compliancy or training elements. There are different packages, I guess, if you will, that depending on your needs, we could potentially meet HIPAA specifically. We do include things like PCI into our cybersecurity content, the non-HIPAA related content. But it's definitely not a checkbox for compliance. It's just something that we used when we build that content for training.
Do you have a track record on doing these testings and quizzes over time where someone starts with your program and you can say, everybody started around, 5.25. Now, overall the company 614, 640, whatever the case may be?
Sure. Let's see. I would say the trend is a good kind of insight into that. You can see here, this is just, a few months time.
Right.
I'm not actually sure in regard to different reporting visibility. There could be a progress. I know we have one of those with phishing campaigns. We do have
Okay.
something called an ESS report, and I don't know if that shows the evolution over time. That would have to be something I would look into.
Be a good selling feature to be able to show, these 5 companies, over a 6-month, 8-month, year, whatever period it is, you can see their scores have gone up consistently.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Problem is you only need one person to click on the email.
That is true. It only takes one person. So no, I agree with that. And this can be really valuable for you to bring to, for example, if you're working with a client and have a business review or an annual overview or anything of that sort, to show them different reports over a quarter's time or a year's time, for example, and
Right.
come to them and say, here's where we were and here's where we are, and this is why it's important to continue prioritizing this.
And here's the same 10 people that always fail no matter what.
Yeah.
Mhm. For that ESS trend piece, is that at all configurable? Like, if I were to be a customer for over a period of time and I wanted to show that my initial ESS was, 600, but now as an enterprise after a year we're up to 800, is there, because part of it, part of the important thing is to be able to demonstrate value, and I think that's a pretty powerful demonstration of value. So is there that ability at all beyond, in a configurable sense, beyond kind of the static setting?
The ESS calculation or algorithm, if you will, is not necessarily configurable. As I mentioned earlier, it does vary significantly based on an individual's success or not successful behaviors. So I
Mhm.
think you can see over time, where you started and where you are. It might not be if you have been using the training platform for 5 years. I don't know if we have a record like that, but I do know that we have, I would say maybe 3 to 6 months. And again, I would have to look into that, but something that does show a little bit of progress.
Is there any ability to export the data as a CSV file or an Excel spreadsheet?
In some cases, yes. And
Okay.
again, managerial view will have reports that you can download most times. So PDFs, believe we have training certificates if you've completed your annual training,
Mhm.
phishing campaign reports, and then I believe a dark web scan or report could be exported in a CSV.
Okay. All right, very good. Are there any other questions for Jessica?
Jessica, would you happen to have an example of a phishing email that you could show us?
Yeah, actually, let me see what I can find for you. I bet you I've got something in a junk folder here that I could pull up. So, can you guys see my inbox here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, for example, this is something I just found in my junk, and there's a ton of links. So, I'm going to use this. This is our email plugin. All you do is click the fish on the hook email analysis to pop open the catch fish window. It will analyze that email, and this will actually say it's not a simulation. So we have a new web page that can be open to analyze further. We use what we call the SLAM method. So it breaks down the email in from the sender, the links, attachments, and the message itself. What I'd like to show you in place of a non-simulated email is one of these. For example, so I get sent these all the time for all of my different demo accounts. So I may or may not have already spotted this one, but let's see what happens when I go through the same steps and analyze the email. Okay. So I had not caught this one in the past. You can see that confetti falls, and it's meant to be very fun and rewarding. So you can see how many fish that person has caught. It will improve your score so you can see how you're doing. And then if you choose, you can go in and learn more again about the SLAM method. From the simulations, this is a little less pertinent. Non-simulated emails will tell you if the sender is local or inconsistent, if the links have been known to be threatening, or the attachments have any type of immediate concern. It is not an antivirus. It is not something that will say this is safe, this is not safe. It is an education tool that will actually show you what to look for when you're unsure of the validity of any type of email.
So that works on like any type of an email, a simulated message from your system, but it also would work on a third party, just if there's a suspicious email.
That's correct. Yep.
That's kind of cool.
The only thing that's different is, of course, we can't reward anyone. It can't get pulled back into the platform. So what it does is it just opens that window as you saw, and then it will break it apart by the SLAM method, so they can see if there's an inconsistent domain, for example. Why is that important, and why is that something that you should be paying attention to?
Interesting. Cool. All right.
These are really good questions, guys. Anything else?
If there's no other questions, Ken, did you have something?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know, Piper, are we going to move into the thumb wrestling activity or?
I did want to go into the thumb wrestling, but it looks like as a two-player situation, it's one of those things where I would need to have two people at my own computer. So until I figure that out for a later date, I think we are going to go into the wheel spin instead. I'm very sorry about that.
All right, we'll do the wheel of fun and happiness.
Thank you. All right, let's
So.
see here.
Although I'm sure that the thumb wrestling, if we get that figured out, will be extremely popular.
Yes, I do as well.
I kind of want to see Ken and Denny.
I did as
Oh,
well.
like Raj is the
Yeah,
man.
Raj wears he's got the discount double check or whatever that is.
Yeah, he's got the champion belt.
Yeah,
All right.
we need to give him a championship belt. We could put like lettuce and cold cuts on it.
So I'm still seeing Jessica's screen.
I am actually trying to pull up the controls, and for some reason my window is not whole. So I apologize. I don't know if anyone else can kind of override that here, but I'm trying to get
Let
the
me-
meeting controls back up.
Here we go.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's see. I can go into my screen now. All right. Can you all see the wheel?
Yes.
We can't see the wheel.
I'm upside down and backwards.
He's upside down and backwards. We weren't gonna tell you, Ken.
Oh,
No.
We just alternate weeks. 1 week is Ken, 1 week is Denny. 1 week is Ken, 1 week is Denny. It's awesome.
Alrighty.
Very good. Congratulations, Denny, on yet another sandwich win.
Thank you.
At some point, we should make you have to report back in and tell us what kind of sandwich you ended up getting. So
You have better
Anyway.
odds if you show up every time.
that's right.
That is true.
And anyway, thank you very much. And if anybody has any questions about Breach Secure Now, let me know and we can get a live demo set up. It's something that I've experienced people having a lot of interest in. Like I said, the dark web thing is, drives questions and stuff, but when we think about the tool itself, and we don't typically talk about price and things like that, but it's actually a very competitively priced tool that you can put in, and humans being the biggest risk factor, there's a good value proposition to be had there. So if you have any questions about it, we're happy to talk about it and go over it. And Jessica, thank you very much for your time today.
Absolutely. Yeah, happy to help, guys.
Right.
And thank you for
Awesome.
asking such great questions. This is a great information that I really enjoy speaking to
Cool.
and getting that out there to everybody.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And it's good to see everyone. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right.
Alrighty.
Take care.
Thank you.
Well,
Bye-bye all.